they're saying something like 75% of the global population will be frequent users of augmented reality in the next 3 years.
People literally pressing like buy within the app, or are they seeing the product on an influencer and then they're still linking to the website?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, they may see it on an influencer, they may see it on a friend, and buy from a friend. Like
friends
more
are the best influencers because you know them.
I agree. I totally agree. I think most of us at Snap would agree, to be fair. But yeah, you can buy it. So you can literally try it on, swipe, to get the right pattern, whatever it might be, glasses, shirt, watch, the right size, and then click to buy. So we're seeing augmented reality not just as like a brand experience, but it's a performance experience also. Just like we're seeing performance dollars kind of pile in. So it's that growth is it's full funnel, which is really interesting.
That's really cool. That's really cool. No, I think it's it's so like natural to buy from your friends or from people you know or from people you want to be. I think that social media has just all accelerated this. So it's like totally possible to do. I look at my own patterns and I'm like, I barely watch television anymore. I just feel like I watch and buy off social media now.
It's funny you say that. We look at the data. Those on Snapchat, primarily, we could say like 13 to 35 years old, early. So Gen Z, early millennial. Yeah, they're the cord cutters of the world for the most part, and we have like 500 media partners on our platform. So like here in Canada, for instance, the CBC is a big channel, and they reach their audience on platforms like Snapchat. If the under 40 audience, so to speak, on platforms like Snapchat. So, and it's even more interesting. Like, so we have about 200 million people on our platform that use augmented reality every day. But if you ask our friends over at Deloitte, they're saying something like 75% of the global population will be frequent users of augmented reality in the next 3 years.
One of the big trends we've also seen is just this huge rise in the creator economy. And you guys have kind of a front row seat. Like, what have you been seeing on that side?
Wow. Yeah, that's a good point. Like we've seen some of the most some of the best content coming out of influencers or creators. I think a couple of thoughts on that is that there's a lot of attention given to a small number of creators and influencers, but there's much more attention given to like a broad swath. If you think about, almost everyone's an influencer. If you have a friend, you probably influence your friend. If you have a family, you probably influence your family. And as you're saying, or as we were talking earlier, it's like friends and family are some of the biggest influencers in the consumer's life. So like a couple things. I think the influencer marketing business is well over a $10 billion kind of business these days. It's clear, like we're just getting started as that like size is doubling, right? It's like, I think it's up 100% or so, 2019 to 2020. Here at Snap, we reach 500 million kind of individuals across the planet. And if you think about that specifically within the younger demographic, which I keep on coming back to because that's where we're stronger. It's 75% plus 13 to 24-year-olds in countries like the US and the UK and Australia and France and the Netherlands and so on and so forth. And it's a real thing. Like this younger generation, like for instance, like I don't know if you classify yourself as like in the fintech space, but like fintech's a real thing, right? Like this generation is spending time with companies that my parents never heard of. They're banking with companies my parents never heard of.
Totally.
They're on mobile plans with mobile companies and cellular companies that my parents don't actually fully understand or know that they even exist. So like we see this in CPG and everywhere else. So I think what's happening is this younger generation is being influenced by their friends, by influencers, and they're enjoying the convenience of technology-enabled businesses. And many of the kind of companies I grew up with are are not as relevant as they once were, which is interesting.
The next thing that I've seen that's worked really well, and it's interesting because I get to sit on both sides of the fence. I'm both an influencer because I've been on the Dragon's Den show for 7 years, and I'm also, you know, get the front row seat to all the Clearband companies. Is that you know, actually having that influencer create those stories without as much guidance as brands traditionally wanted to give. You know, if you come from the branding world, it was like there was a brief and there was a story and there was a script. And I know, at least for me, it's like when you talk authentically about a brand, it's like it actually makes a lot more sense. And, you know, there's the pasta sauce everywhere and like the plate doesn't look perfect or whatever it is. It's like, oh, this is her real life and she really likes this. And so I think we'll see a lot more of that because it's just a lot more compelling. It's a lot more authentic. And that's, I think, one of the reasons people fell in love with social media, because they could share not only the like filtered parts of their life, but I think largely the unfiltered parts that it was really hard for people to see. And then now I think the other big thing that's going to make a huge difference for e-commerce brands is that there's, you know, the calls to action are so clear, right? You can buy on platform, and that's all made it so much easier for founders to use these tools to really accelerate their growth.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then you couple that with things like next day shipping or same day shipping and whatnot. It gets pretty clear like where we're going. You know, taking it back though to augmented reality, kind of doing a full circle here, is one use case, that one real major use case, not necessarily to the consumer, though it is nice to get the thing that you want that fits the first try. It's also really valuable to the company, and that is less returns. So if I can get the right product and not have to send it back,
totally,
that's right. There's a whole cost piece, you know, whole piece of their cost structure that startups and e-commerce companies don't have to worry about. And we see that all the time at Snap. When AR is used, returns go down. So, you know, that part, it's a hidden benefit, but it's worth bringing it up. And as far as, you know, micro influencers versus kind of your more, you know, standard influencer, again, I agree with you. I think authenticity is never been more important.